students to chapter 5 of Business Studies class 11th, that is Emerging Modes of Business. The chapter's name is Emerging Modes of Business. And in this chapter, if you see, it's a very small chapter in which there are only 4 main topics. The first one being scope of e-business. Second is differences between the traditional business systems and the modern day electronic business. Then we have online transactions and its procedures and the various risks associated with such type of e-business. So one by one in 2 videos we are going to cover all these 4 topics in detail. Now let us see the very first topic, students, that is scope of e-business. Whenever we talk of scope, you can easily remember it as BCCI. BCCI, no, it's not Board of Control for Cricket in India. Rather, B stands for B2B business. When the 2 businesses interact, we call it B2B business. So first B is for this. Then C is for B2C business, where the business is interacting with its customers. And then again another C standing for C2C business, where 2 customers interact with each other to sell or buy a good or service. And then we have the intra-B business that we can represent with the letter I. So scope of e-business can be remembered as BCCI. Now let us see in detail that what BCCI holds as in NCERT. So in NCERT, students, when you see this topic, the very first topic covered is B2B, business to business, and it definitely means that the 2 business units are interacting amongst each other. It can be a main business interacting with its suppliers or a business firm interacting with another firm, maybe for procurement of some components or its different parts of its manufacturing units. So here we are basically defining it as transactions between the 2 business firms, and business needs to interact with another business for suppliers, for vendors, for diverse inputs, and this formulates a channel between them. So here an example has been taken for automobile manufacturing industry, where large number of its components are coming from elsewhere, because we know that this industry is assembling type of industry where the spare parts gets assembled at a particular place. So here interaction with the supplier is a must. So in this B2B business, students, like forward supply chain and backward supply chain needs to be interacted upon, and hence this communication is used. Now in the second one is B2C. B2C, where we are representing it with as letter C. So in B2C business, it's always from business to the consumer, and its example can be seen as ATM facility. Whenever we are going for withdrawal of money, a customer is interacting with the business unit, and it is much lower in cost and high in speed. Speed gets at a very fast pace, the customer's demand gets fulfilled. So these days customers is choosy and they desire individual attention. So this kind of tailor-made techniques can be used to give convenience to the customers, and they can easily interact with the business through the channel of B2C. Another C we have for C2C business. C2C means customer to customer, and whenever we talking about this kind of business, students, just remember that C2C means there is an interaction between 2 types of customers. So one is either selling the goods and the other is buying the goods. So in this type of business, it's a global reach, means using the internet facility, any consumer can interact with any other consumer sitting at its own place, and here there is anonymity and one-to-one transaction takes place. We have some major famous sites like eBay, Quicker and OLX. So these sites are basically facilitating such type of trade. Here customers are interacting with another customer. This technology is supporting C2C activities. We have also heard of PayPal and the intermediate payment users, like we have Paytm also these days, GPay, where there is a mechanism in between the transactions. So this PayPal, for example, what does it do? Like when you are transacting with an unknown or untrusted seller, then you are not sure that whether the goods will be delivered in case you make the payment. So this PayPal acts as an agent between, and when you make the payment, it gets credited in the account of PayPal, and from there it ensures that the goods reach at your place first. Once the good reaches, then only they transfer the payment to the seller of the goods. So this is how PayPal is acting as an intermediary, and it's ensuring C2C customer to customer convenience and in ease and in the trade. So this C2C area, we have different types of customers who are using this channel, e-business channel. One more example has been given in NCERT students, that the traffic alerts on radio. You must have heard that whenever you are driving a car and your radio is on, then it gives traffic signals. आपको बताया जाता है कि यहाँ पर heavy traffic मिलेगा, यहाँ पर कम जाम की आशंका है, तो accordingly you can plan your route. So this is also another form of C2C using technology, because one consumer who is facing the traffic there is actually updating on the radio, and through radio broadcasting, the message is going to all the customers who are nearby that area, and you can use this information to avoid the heavy traffic. So this is the excellent example of C2C. Now the last one being I is for intra-B commerce. With commerce students, it must be clear that commerce is not just buying and selling. Whenever we talk about commerce, as we have seen in chapter 1, it is having two branches. One is trade and the other is auxiliaries to such trade. So both these terms are covered under commerce only. With trade, we necessarily mean buying as well as selling, and all those activities that help or that acts as aid in buying and selling is also covered under commerce. So whenever we are talking about commerce, don't just think about buying and selling procedures, rather it can just be a simple communication. So in intra-B commerce students, we are concentrated upon intra. Intra means within. With the word intra, we mean within. That is within the business, in the same business unit, in the same business organization, when talks are going and communications are taking place amongst different departments in order to coordinate, we define such type of communication as intra-B commerce. So in intra-B commerce, we have interactions with the suppliers and distributors within the business firm. Like it's not amongst the different suppliers and vendors from outside, rather the employees. It can also give an interaction between management and the employees. So over the net, it is utilizing the facility of net definitely, and intranet facilities are utilized here. Intranet, again, it's the form of inner communication. Intra means within, and network facility within the organization. So this intranet facility is being utilized for intra-B type of commerce, where one department, let's say production department, is continually in contact with the sales department or the marketing department, because they need to see the requirements of the individual customer, and according to that feedback they are generating the inventories. Similarly, such type of communication is used for efficient inventory, cash management, utilization of plant and machinery, handling customers' orders, and effective human resource management. So in every field we have this type of commerce. It is also often referred to as B2E commerce, B2E, where E represents the employees, business to employees. And this is a classic example. Today students, you can make out that many people are working from home. The concept of WFH has also involved this concept, because use of e-commerce and e-learning is being done in order to interact with the employees of the business unit, and the employees can in fact the business unit is coming to their place at the ease, at the convenience of their home. Employees are giving their services by connecting themselves through a technology, and this is leading to better interaction and management through VPN, virtual private network, because the employees are connected through the virtual private network of that particular company, and meetings are being held either through teleconferencing or through video conferencing. So this is all regarding the scope of e-business. So you can easily remember as BCCI, where B stands for B2B, C stands for B2C, again C stands for C2C, and I representing intra-B commerce. The next main topic in line, students, is the difference between traditional type of business and the modern e-business or electronic business, and let us see that what all differences does it have. When we see this NCERT, students, there is a clear-cut table of distinction given between traditional business and electronic business. So on these particular basis of distinction we are going to discuss. The first one being ease of formation. Formation की अगर बात करें तो definitely we can make out that in traditional business the formation is quite difficult because we need to give the entire setup. We need to have a building first of all, then we have to keep the inventories inside, we have to arrange all the furniture and the different systems, the different racks and different places. An order has to be maintained where the instruments, the items and the human resources are kept at particular places. But such kind of setup is not at all required in case of e-business, and that is how we can say that the setting up of the e-business is comparatively simpler and easier as compared to the traditional business. As far as physical presence is concerned, students, here it is definitely required because we need to talk face to face. Personal touch communication is established in case of traditional business. It is also one of its merits, but in e-business it's not required at all because no physical presence, everything is done through online mode. The third one being location requirements. Here definitely the raw material and market needs to be closely located to the products where you are selling the product, because for the backward chain you have to ensure raw materials reach the site on time, and then from there it is sent to the factory for production and then taken to the market. So all these procedures need to be in a close vicinity to each other so that convenience is ensured. But here none of such kind of business and location requirements is needed because everything is going online. It's a virtual setup where definitely there are lesser hassles. And then we have cost of setting up. It is higher because if you are trying to put all the things at place, it needs some cost, it comes at a cost, and here since physical facilities are not required, the cost automatically goes down. As far as operating cost is concerned, it is also high in case of physical business or traditional business because there are fixed charges. Like if you are putting a setup, you need to pay the rent. If you are putting the setup, you need to pay for the electricity. You need to keep the inventory always. So for procurement and storage of the inventory is also one of the main challenge in this kind of business. Here we can say that low operating cost because everything is based on networking and you need not own the resources. The best part is you need not own the resources. Rather we work in JIT system, just in time inventory. We ensure just in time inventory, as in when the demand falls, the inventory is taken and delivered. So in nature of contact between suppliers and customers, here we can see that it is indirect through the intermediaries because there are many intermediaries from manufacturer to the final consumer. We have seen the whole chain, manufacturer to wholesaler to retailer and then to consumers. So this is a long chain. However, it is direct kind of a business in case of e-business or electronic business. Internal communication, as far as that is concerned, students, we can see that in traditional kind of business there is a long hierarchical chain because the communication takes from the top to the middle, then to the lower and then to the operational managers. So it is a chain of hierarchy that needs to be followed. Here everything is quite mixed up. It's not non-hierarchical. There is also, it allows horizontal and diagonal and vertical communications. All sorts of communications, whether it is horizontal, vertical or diagonal, is allowed in case of e-business because ultimately it is based on huge networking. Then comes response time, and as far as customers' requirements are concerned, since you can see that there is a long chain of intermediaries in between, so definitely this response time would be higher or long. Here the response time will be almost instantaneous at the click of the mouse, but definitely some delivery time is taken in case of online deliveries, but gradually in modern day you can see the channels like Zepto and Blinkit, they are also just going by their names, just to blink your eyes and the goods come in. So they are almost instantaneous. With that we mean that whatever travel time is needed, that is required, but almost at just now you have ordered and you get the items. Even Amazon Fresh facility is also available where you can order the fresh vegetables right at the click and it directly comes to your home. Now in shape of organizational structure, as we have seen, it is a long hierarchy. So we are vertical channel of communication from lower to top and top to lower level. So this is a long chain vertical setup. Here it is horizontal and flat setup generally because everybody is connected to anyone and there is no formal chain of communication. It is directness, openness, transparency and rather an expansion towards horizontal and flat structures as well. Now we have business processes and its length of the cycle will definitely be sequential, one after the other, and definitely it will be longer because it takes more time, because nothing is going instantaneously, nothing is going simultaneously, it is all going sequentially, one after the other. First purchase, then production, then operations, then marketing, and then finally sales, and then ultimately reinvesting into raw materials. So this operating cycle is quite long in case of traditional business, but if we see the online business or e-business or electronic business, due to concurrence of activities, due to simultaneous running of 2 or 3 activities together, we can see that the processing time is comparatively shorter in case of e-business. Another point of difference here is opportunity for personal touch. As we discussed earlier, personal touch is available only in case of traditional business because their face-to-face interaction takes place with the customers. However, it is missing in case of electronic business because we are interacting over the net. Similarly, opportunity for physical sampling of the products is available in case of traditional business. It is not that available in case of online business, but few items that can be sold digitally, like you can see the books and journals and music and softwares, they can easily be shown as samples digitally. Rather, they can be shown more appropriately and more attractively using the online media. So here in this case, for selling the digital products, the opportunities are actually really high because we can use all the dimensions, the 3D and 4D and 5D images in order to attract the consumers. Now, ease of going global, you can see students, in traditional there is very least probability that when one can go global because you are operating in a particular segment, in a particular restricted to a particular geographical area. So it's very difficult to make the consumers widespread consumers to your place, but here it is no boundary. In you are working in the cyberspace where it's boundaryless and you can interact with any type of customer sitting anywhere around the globe, not just in India. Rather, you can also plan for your international business. Then government's patronage, if we call about that, it is gradually shrinking because automatically we need to adapt to the updating technologies, and e-business is the trend of day. So it is shrinking in case of traditional business. The more we can say the trend is of electronic business. So priorities, the government sector is also giving priorities to IT sector, which is completely going online these days, and you can see that how people are just taking the opportunity to work right from their home and give their facilities and services. So government is also now keen on getting adapted to this trend, to this new arena where electronic business is promoted. And as far as human capital is concerned, earlier students in traditional kind of business, there was scope for semi-skilled and unskilled professionals, the manpower, but in the electronic kind of business there is no scope for unsound, the person who is unsound in technology and who is not tech savvy. Here professionals are only required in order to run this kind of a business. As far as transaction risks are concerned, definitely it is lower in case of traditional business because you have face-to-face interaction. This is the main thing, this is the main key point and one of the strong merits of this kind of business, where there is face-to-face interaction and therefore more physical presence and physical touch, and with lesser risk because the customer is just at an arm's length. But here, due to the distance and anonymity of the parties are unknown to each other, there can be some strange actions and distrust between the parties, and there can be chances of frauds and scams, which you are made aware these days. So I hope the differences between traditional and electronic business is very clear. Thank you.